speak to you in the name of the living God, who is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. The readings on Ash Wednesday have a bit of a theme. Isaiah speaks about how to fast, and indeed the Gospel addresses the question of fasting. The Gospel suggests that fasting, in some ways, is something to be done in secret. Something that is really between the individual who fasts and God. Really not a public matter. And when it's made a public matter, it somehow loses some of its spiritual power. Because when it's done publicly, there are other things that come into play beside that relationship with God. Isaiah is even more direct, pointing out that fasting by itself, without action, is a bit empty. And all through that passage that Jenny read, we heard about the things that we can do while we're fasting in terms of caring for those who live on the margins and those who have needs that are greater than ours. But there's more to the Ash Wednesday message than that. You may have noticed nobody wished you a happy Ash Wednesday today. It's just not what we do. It's not like Canada Day or Christmas or Easter or birthdays. It's an observance with something quite different about it. The refrain from the psalm perhaps captures some of what Ash Wednesday is about. The Lord remembers that we are but dust. Dust. In the psalm, we hear things that were like flowers that bloom and are gone, like grass that vanishes away. When ashes are imposed, the words that accompany it are, remember that you are but dust. And it seems to me some of what lies behind those readings, and what lies behind that song, and what lies behind our own observance with ashes on Ash Wednesday is about having a perspective on exactly who we are and exactly how significant our individual lives are in the greater, bigger scheme of creation. That we are but dust. We're like another psalm says, like a breath goes out and goes in and is gone. But there is another theme within these readings. And that is the theme that no matter that we are but dust, the Lord remembers us. God loves us. We are precious to God. That God's grace for things that are even as short-lived and fragile as us, that God's grace is there. That God yearns for that time when all of creation, all the things that He loved and created, including us, will be drawn back to God. That as fragile and as short-lived and as dusty as we are, we're infinitely valuable to God. And therefore, when we think about that, surely that provides us with a point of view on which to look at the things we think are important. We're valued by the one who called everything into being. We are fragile. We are ashes, finally. We are dust. Remember, you are but dust, and to dust you shall return. Remember, in the funeral liturgy, we talk about ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But we do that when we say in sure and certain hope. Hope of everlasting life through the ministry of Jesus. And so it seems to me the point of Ash Wednesday and some of these readings about fasting is to remind us that in the great drama of creation, none of us really has a leading role, but we do have a role. None of us is the focus of that drama of creation, but each of us has a significant, important place, and creation would be different without each and every one of us having participated in it in the way that it unfolds. So tonight, as we receive the tracing of the cross of Jesus, the sign of the love and the free grace that God gives each of us, regardless of our deserving, that free grace that's ours because God loves us, and we trace that cross sign on our hand, we need to remember that when we were baptized, that very same sign was crossed. In the baptism liturgy, the priest who presides says, "I sign you with the sign of the cross and mark you as Christ's own forever." So, yes, we have a place in creation. Yes, we are valued highly by God who loves us, God who does so much for us, God who gifts us with life and a creation that sustains us. But Ash Wednesday also reminds us to just think a little bit about how important we think we are in that. That we need to have some perspective on what our goals and our dreams and our wishes and our hopes might actually be. And maybe even ask ourselves, is the song that I'm singing one that reflects the music of the creation that God has called into being? It's a reminder that we're not the whole show, but small players, important players, valued players, but small players in a much greater, bigger drama that would not be the same without your participation or my participation. But we need, as we remember that we are but dust, that all our hopes and our dreams are in the end short-lived. And unless they really resonate or reflect or manifest God's bigger dream for all of creation, then our part in it is maybe diminished in some way. So Ash Wednesday reminds us we're mortal. Ash Wednesday reminds us that we're limited. Ash Wednesday reminds us that we're not the focus of creation, but important players within it. And that God calls each of us to play a part. God calls. We don't always say yes, but we should say yes. We should think about where God is calling us to be, what God is calling us to become. And think about Lent as a journey to Easter. And in our readings, we're going to trace the journey of Jesus from the Mount of Transfiguration to the cross, to the grave, and then beyond. We need to think about our own Lenten journeys. Not as journeys simply following Jesus, but as journeys within, to see where it is we're going. To think about at that story of the crucifixion or the Last Supper or Palm Sunday or whatever time that you pass through. What's your part in this story? Who are you? in this great drama of salvation. And as we journey inwardly, following the journey of Jesus, what do we learn about who we are and what we're to be and to become? I think that's so important. It's the value of Lent. It's not simply hearing the stories and singing the tunes and looking a little glum when you come to church. That's not at the heart of it. At the heart of it is that journey. And you know, every week you come into this place, your life journey is being acted out by you. As you walk past the font where you were baptized, as you journey down the aisle to this crossing place where faithful people rest in death. But you also have to remember that every time you do that, you walk past that place to the altar, to the table of the Lord, to the wedding feast of the Lamb. That journeying is really a focus for us in Lent. Where do we start? Where are we going? What part do we have to play in that? Let us think and pray about that this evening. Amen.